March 1943. The vast pine forests of Lower Silesia shiver in the biting wind, their branches framing a wire-wrapped compound isolated deep in Nazi-occupied Poland. This is Stalag Luft III. Created by the Luftwaffe to hold Allied airmen, the camp hums with uneasy routine. Barracks built over sandy soil, double rows of electrified wire, angular guard towers cutting the horizon. The smell of boiled cabbage and cheap soap hangs in the air, mingling with cigarette smoke drifting from the crowded mess hall. Among 10,000 prisoners, squadron leader Roger Bushell walks briskly, scanning shadows for signs of German patrols. He's sandwiched between two fellow officers. Both whisper in clipped British tones, their boots crunching gravel. Under the drab monotony, nerves are stretched thin. The men are not broken. Beneath everyday grumbling, there's a pulse of possibility, unseen and unstoppable. Bushell enters Block 104, glances at the battered chessboard, then slides onto his bunk. His thoughts swirl with plans and risk. Each day is marked by the clang of the morning roll call, the barked orders for appel, the brief moments of freedom stolen in the library, at the theater, on the makeshift sport grounds. At night, barracks creak with murmurs, dreams of home, daring escapes, memories tinged with longing and dread. The camp is a contradictory space, cruel but full of camaraderie, boredom punctuated by hope, survival saturated with the raw anxiety of uncertainty. Outside his window, unseen, a team scrapes at the earth with cutlery and boots. Beyond the daily routine, something stirs beneath the sand. Apprehension and anticipation mingle in the smoky, ration-starved air. The stage is set for a story stranger and grittier than any film ever told. Inside Block 102, the air tastes of stale bread, dust, and nervous sweat. Flight Lieutenant Dick Churchill hunches over a hand-drawn blueprint, a labyrinth of tunnels sketched in trembling pencil. At the next bunk, Gordon Miller tests a jerry-rigged air pump, a contraption assembled from old biscuit tins, scrap rubber, and stolen pieces of a gramophone. The room trembles with tension. Tools must be hidden in seconds, whistles exchanged in code, guards distracted by games or impromptu drama in the hallway. The men who dig are mechanics, civil engineers, miners in civilian life, called now to gamble everything on their expertise. Each day brings new hazards. Germans probing beneath the boards, secret sand hidden in socks and under tables, explosive quarrels over safety. Eyes ringed with exhaustion, hands raw from endless scraping. The engineers are haunted by the fear that a single misstep dooms all. Their tunnel, named Tom, one of three, must avoid pipes, foundation stones, and the ever-watchful commandant staff. Every 24 hours, the soil shifts with cracks. The danger of collapse hovers palpable and immediate. Their courage is not loud or boastful. It's found in silent hours below ground, the hiss of breath in tunnel dust, the knowledge that each inch gained is paid for in risk. Churchill sketches a final note, silent as the grave. He's right in ways he cannot know. The tunnels twist through not only dirt and sand, but the desperate hope and burden of 1,000 trapped minds desperate for freedom. Morning glimmers cold over the camp as Bushell convenes a meeting in a cramped storage room reeking of old canvas and wet stone. 25 senior officers stand shoulder to shoulder, hushed voices, clenched jaws. If we're going to escape, we go big, Bushell says. He sketches circles, lines, tunnels on smuggled maps. Not 10 men, 200. The room falls silent. To a man, every officer knows the danger. For each escape, the Gestapo retaliates, new punishments, brutal searches, threats of death. On this day, a pact is born. No one escapes for himself alone. The group will coordinate, share rations, rotate work in the tunnels, protect identities, accept consequences together. They form a clandestine committee, orchestrate distractions, smuggle documents. Each decision is weighed against the lifeline of the group. The risk is absolute, the fear real. Families in England will never know. Letters will go unanswered. Memories might end abruptly in a bullet or unmarked grave. But as Bushell places his hand on the battered table, others follow. building a network stronger than the watchtowers and wire. The camp, once an island of despair, pulses with conspiracy and unity. In the quiet before roll call, they carry the burden, bravery forged not in Hollywood heroics, but in the solidarity of men who choose to defy captivity together. Spring deepens, and the tunnels snake further into the sandy earth. Every day, men trickle into Block 107 with clothes dusted yellow, a sign traceable only to those in know. Tommy Guest, a jittery Canadian wireless operator, wriggles through the narrow shaft, his breath scraping loud in the stifling gloom. The temperature underground is suffocating, with supports groan and grains of sand rain down when boots push too hard. The soundscape is eerie, distant buzz of voices above, the slow drip of condensation, occasional scraping that could mean collapse. To mask clandestine activity, prisoners invent penguin patrols. Men walk the compound, pockets filled with excavated sand, scattering it unnoticed during exercise. Above ground, the Germans grow suspicious. The commandant orders dogs to sniff for hidden passages. Curious noses poke near the tunnel entrance. Adrenaline surges in hiding hearts. A single cough or mistake could bring disaster. Inside the tunnel, Guest's mind drifts to home. Flashes of sisters playing by Lake Ontario, tastes of hot tea and blackberry jam. Here, he's not a hero, just a man in the dark, clawing toward hope. The escape is not glamorous. It's a slow war against earth, time, and watchful eyes. Within Block 106, a hidden room pulses with energy and nerves. Here, the camp's secret artists, forgers, work 12-hour shifts forging identity papers, exit passes, railway tickets, and travel permits. Light filters through confiscated glass panes, illuminating scraps of blank paper scavenged from Red Cross parcels, ink brewed from burnt sugar and boot polish. Flight Lieutenant Henry Claude, Wilson inspects a new cache, imitation German stamps carved from old linoleum, signatures copied meticulously from customs forms. The forgers risk brutal punishment, even execution if discovered. They adapt typewriter ribbons from broken machines, sharpen pencils to surgical points, study captured Nazi documents for nuances of bureaucratic style. Mistakes spell doom, not just for escapees, but for families left behind. Wilson's hands shake when forging a pass for a French POW with a Jewish surname. A single misplaced umlaut could mean death on a distant platform. Over months, they amass a miniature archive. Kits ready for every planned escape, tailoring stories for Englishmen, Poles, Dutch, Norwegians trying to vanish into night. The room reeks of adrenaline and fear. In every forged line, hope and terror balance. They create freedom one paper at a time, their courage hidden behind ink and ingenuity. June 1943. The Germans launch a surprise inspection. Guards armed with rifles and barking dogs flood Block 104, overturn bunks, rip up floorboards, shout in clipped German. The tunnelers dive for cover, Guest pressed flat against sand, Churchill wedged behind a crumbling wall, Wilson hiding forged documents in the lining of his mattress. Outside, the Penguin Patrol disperses in all directions, sand trailing from shuttered pockets. In one barack, the guards discover a loose board beneath a bunk. Silence falls. The camp's fate hangs in the balance. After agonizing minutes, the German sergeant yanks aside a wooden support, but finds only a hidden chess piece, one of dozens used to store sand and jewelry. The tunnelers hold their breath. The search drags into night, destroying books, appending ration boxes, cursing prisoners in guttural tones. But no tunnel entrance is found. By dawn, the Germans withdraw, angrier but none the wiser. The relief is electric, but everyone knows escape efforts must adapt. New codes, new cover stories, greater caution. For every night won, risk doubles. But hope, battered but unbowed, survives. As Bushell writes in his journal, we remain undetected. For now. The men of Stalag Luft III prepare to begin the final push toward freedom or fate. March 24, 1944. The air over Stalag Luft III throbs with silent anticipation. 200 men, Disguised, equipped with forged papers and civilian clothes, crowd block 104 in nervous lines. Outside, the moon glows cold above pine shadows. Inside, hearts pound with fear and hope. The escape committee checks names on a smuggled roster. Some men pale, some steady, each chosen for language skills, health, and luck. The tunnel, Harry, is finally ready, a 336-foot snake dug from the barracks to the forest beyond wire. At midnight, Roger Bushell signals the start. The first men disappear into the narrow shaft, feet scraping wooden planks slick with condensation. The air inside is thin, torchlight flickers. Every movement is a gamble. A misstep could trigger Sandy collapse, a shout could bring guards. As each prisoner emerges in the cold forest, ration packs in hand, train timetables memorized, the future is uncertain. 176 men squeeze through before an alarm is raised. The escape is not flawless. Delays, last-minute confusion, a tunnel exit 10 meters short of the treeline. But for one night, hope defeats captivity. The story begins, not with Hollywood car chases, but with the exhaled breath of men who choose risk for freedom. As the escapees fan out into the frozen forest, snow crunches beneath boots. Norwegian pilot Per Berg uses a compass sewn into his jacket lining, his nerves taut as tripwires. British navigator Bob Stewart, fluent in German, leads a smaller team toward the Sagan railway station, backs pressed against frosted tree trunks whenever searchlights sweep overhead. They huddle in thickets to plan next moves, train tickets forged, accents practiced, travel stories rehearsed. Not all are so lucky. 2 Dutch officers trek south for days, hidden beneath a farmer's haystack, breathing shallow, listening for distant barking dogs. Some blend into crowds at rural stations. Others stumble, starved and half-frozen, along muddy roads. Every cough, every mispronounced German phrase, carries mortal risk. Most are recaptured within days, but a handful, Norwegians, Dutch, Poles, reach Switzerland, Spain, even Sweden. Their journey's cost is not just terror, but the weight of every comrade left behind. In these woods, bravery is measured less by speed than by the strength to keep walking, step after agonizing, uncertain step. Within days, the Gestapo tightens its grip. German police flood the countryside, searching trains and roads, interrogating civilians, examining forged papers for flaws. Radio broadcasts warn of British saboteurs. The Luftwaffe commandant at Stalag Luft III receives a chilling telegram. 50 escapees executed, by order of the Führer. The true story, sidestepped by Hollywood, is darker. Most recaptured officers aren't returned to camp, but shot by Gestapo agents in forests and remote fields. Grief pulses through the camp as news trickles in. Roger Bushell falls in France, betrayed by a French collaborator. For some, like Bob Stewart, the Gestapo's bullet is the end. For others, capture means torture and years in prison. The survivors, those returned to Stalag, carry survivors' guilt like a wound. Tally boards in Block 104 read, 50 lost forever. A quiet memorial is held at dusk. Airmen stand in lines, heads bowed, frost glistening on boots. There are no grand gestures, only the silent promise to remember. The price of freedom is steep, measured not in film reels or medals, but in blood and memory. The Great Escape is a tragedy as much as a triumph. May 1945, Germany surrenders. As Allied armies sweep across occupied Europe, British intelligence teams begin piecing together evidence of the Gestapo murders. Squadron leader Francis McKenna leads a dedicated RAF unit tasked with tracking perpetrators who executed the 50 escapees. The investigation spans years, crossing borders, interrogating witnesses, examining burial sites. In forests near Breslau, investigators unearth shallow graves. Dental records confirm identities. Roger Bushell's remains are found with a bullet through the skull, murdered in cold blood, not combat. McKenna's team works tirelessly, cataloging crimes, tracing orders through bureaucratic chains. The work is slow, meticulous, fueled by a determination that justice, though delayed, will not be denied. By 1947, trials begin. Gestapo agents are brought before military tribunals in Hamburg and Nuremberg. Some confess, others deny involvement, claiming orders from higher command. 13 perpetrators are convicted and hanged. Others receive prison sentences. But many escape, fleeing to South America, disappearing into post-war chaos. The families of the 50 receive closure, but also confirmation of unimaginable loss. For the survivors of Stalag Luft III, justice is bittersweet. Convictions cannot resurrect the dead, but memory ensures the fallen are honored. The Great Escape premieres in theaters worldwide, starring Steve McQueen on a motorcycle blasting through barbed wire fences in glorious Technicolor. Audiences cheer. Critics praise the film's excitement and star power. But veterans of Stalag Luft III watch with conflicting emotions. The movie sanitizes brutality, replaces British officers with American heroes, though no Americans participated in the actual escape, and omits the 50 executions or reduces them to footnotes. For survivors like Charlie Burchell, sitting in a London cinema with his grandchildren, the film is both tribute and betrayal. The camaraderie is real, the tension authentic, but the truth is buried beneath Hollywood glamour. No motorcycles existed in the escape. No American Cooler King defied guards with baseball gloves. The real heroes, Roger Bushell, Dick Churchill, the 50 murdered, are overshadowed by fictional characters designed for box office appeal. Burchell writes letters to producers requesting corrections in future releases. His letters go unanswered. The film becomes the definitive narrative, eclipsing reality. For decades, public memory confuses Hollywood fiction with historical fact. Yet, Burchell and fellow veterans persist, speaking at schools, writing memoirs, preserving artifacts. They understand the film's power, but refuse to let entertainment erase truth. History, they insist, belongs to those who lived it. Present day, the site of Stalag Luft III is now a memorial museum near Zagan, Poland. Visitors walk paths where barracks once stood, viewing displays of forged documents, homemade tools, photographs of the 50. A granite monument lists their names, ages ranging from 26 to 41, nationalities spanning Britain, Canada, Norway, Poland, Australia, New Zealand. Among the visitors is Sarah Bushell, great-niece of Roger Bushell. She traces her fingers across his name, carved into cold stone. Growing up, she heard whispers of Uncle Roger, the brilliant barrister, the defiant squadron leader, the man who refused to surrender hope. Today, she shares his story with schoolchildren on a guided tour, explaining not just the escape, but the values it represents: courage, solidarity, sacrifice. The story resonates across generations. Podcasts dissect tunnel engineering. Historians publish new research revealing details Hollywood ignored. Veterans associations preserve letters and diaries. The truth, long shadowed, steps into light. As Sarah stands beside the memorial, wind rustles through pines, the same trees that witnessed desperate men crawling toward freedom 75 years ago. She speaks their names aloud, a ritual of remembrance. The Great Escape was not a movie. It was real men facing real danger, choosing defiance over despair, paying the ultimate price for principles larger than themselves. Their legacy endures, not in fiction, but in the unvarnished truth of history, preserved by those who refuse to forget. If this story moved you, please subscribe to our channel for more untold histories of World War II. Like this video and comment which detail surprised you most about the real Great Escape. Coming soon, Operation Compass, the forgotten desert victory that changed the North African campaign. And don't miss our documentary on Lu Chambon-sur-Lignon, the village that saved 5,000 Jews from the Holocaust. Subscribe now and join us as we uncover the story's history almost forgot.